Hey guys, this is our home workout for today, and we're going to do a foam roller program. So we're just going to do a quick program using the foam roller of both kind of releases and exercises. This is a good one as a warm-up or a cool down after maybe going out on a hike or something of that nature, since we're all getting outside these days. So coming onto your quads, you're going to turn your toes and keep your belly engaged so you're not hanging at your back. And then you're just going to slowly start to roll down towards your knees. Bump into those kneecaps nice and gentle, and then you're going to start to roll back up towards your thighs. And we're going to just do this nice and slow. You can see I'm not going fast. The biggest mistake most people make is they just kind of roll over things. It's not going to do a whole lot. It's better to go slow and then kind of stopping at some areas of tension and just letting yourself kind of sink onto the roller is going to do more, and it's going to get a quicker release than if you rolled really fast. So we'll just take a couple more passes here. Just kind of finding the area that might be the most painful. And then if this isn't too bad for you on two, you can kind of start to switch so that you're kind of putting more weight on one leg over the other. So right now, I'm not just a little bit heavier on my right leg. So you can see I'm not actually taking my left leg off. I just twist a little bit. And then after I check out that, maybe pause, let it kind of sink in. Then I'm going to switch over to my left leg, work on that guy a little bit, see what's going on over there. Stopping when I kind of feel some areas of tension and letting it relax. Just working my way through some tight spots or some speed bumps, as I like to say. And then we're going to go straight from here over to kind of this outer quadrant area, so our TFL area. And so I'm just on my IT band, so I'm not all the way over here. But I'm still in the front kind of outer portion of my quad, which usually has a little bit more tension than the IT band, and usually is more of a culprit in some of our knee and hip pain than the IT band. So we're just going to let that release on each side. So I'm starting kind of just below the hip bone here, maybe 2 or 3 inches, and then I'm going to hang out, find an area of tension, let my leg hang. So a lot of people will keep this leg off the floor, really try and let it be heavy on the ground, and then moving your way down. If you've been doing a lot of hiking, running, cycling, that type of thing, this is going to feel really good, and it'll let your hips open back up again. You might have kind of felt your hips being stiff and you're not quite sure why. This is a great way to get them open. So we'll hang out just a little longer. Feel free to hit pause, and you can just hang out as long as you want if you need a little bit more time. And then we'll go over to the other side. So taking our time here, bringing that opposite knee up and hanging out on the other leg. Again, letting this leg be heavy on the floor and just hanging out. And we're looking for more melting than shoving. So I'm not really grinding my leg. I'm just trying to like sink in, let that roller do the work as I just become heavy. Good, and then we'll come off of here. We'll just flip around, and we're going to go into a little bit of an anterior hip stretch. So you're going to come onto your back, bridge up, try not to sit on your roller and then fall back. I call that the skull smasher. So this is the safer way to get in and out of this. You're just going to hug one knee in towards your chest and let the other leg out. And you should feel an opening through the front of this left hip while you're holding onto that right leg. Again, just let the leg be heavy. If you kind of straighten it and lift it, you're not going to get a ton out of this. These are really kind of very passive here as we melt in, letting that hip open. Thinking about keeping the spine in neutral. So we don't want to be so far up our back with the roller that it's pushing us into extension. And I don't want to be so far down on my glutes that it's kind of tipping me into flexion. I want this just far enough down that it's holding me in this neutral spine as I let one leg out. And then go ahead, when you switch, you want to bring the straight leg in first, let the other leg out second so that we're protecting the back. Let that front of that hip open up. Just feeling that stretch through the front of the hip And again, we're just trying to make this heavy so that we can just feel this opening. If you're not getting a super intense stretch, that's okay. This is supposed to be pretty subtle here. I just like this as an option for an anterior hip stretch as opposed to something that we're kneeling on all the time with some of our kneeling hip stretches. And then some of those standing hip stretches can be a little hard for balance. So it's just a nice option to still be able to open the front of our hips. Like I said, especially if we've been doing a lot of kind of activity or a lot of sitting, it's just nice to get these hips back open again. Good. From there, go ahead and bridge yourself up. Just roll the roller out from under you. That's the safest way to do this. And then we're going to go ahead and place it underneath our feet. So I want your arches to just be on here. And if you've got shoes on, that's just fine. Just make sure you stay in the center of the arches. So I don't want you to be just on your heels here. And as you bridge up, you're going to stay on the arches. So we're going to engage our belly, and then we're just going to start to press up so that we feel our glutes squeeze and we're centered on our arches and we're not letting our heels drop down like this. So we're staying level over the foam roller and then coming back down. Let's do that again. So waking up the back side of the legs here after we stretch open those hips. Squeeze, press open those hips you just opened up here. You're going to keep your belly on so that your rib cage is knitted down and in. It's not lifting up towards the ceiling and lower down. Check in at the top here, making sure your feet are level so you're not pressing through just the outside edges of them or collapsing in. And if you glance at your knees, they should also be kind of lined up with your hips. They shouldn't be flaring out to the side. That's also kind of a common thing that happens. Keep bridging up and down here with me. We're going to go for 5 more here. So 5, 4, come from the backside. Don't let that roller get away from you. Don't press yourself up the mat. 3, good. 2 more. 2, 1 more. Make sure both legs are working evenly. Find those arches. Good. And then come back down. Then we're going to just kind of roll this up so we can kind of point and flex our feet. Let our hamstrings be nice and free. From here, let's open up our upper spine before we go into some core work. So we're going to go ahead, start at the mid-back, lift the hips up, and you're going to roll towards your neck and then down towards your mid-spine. You don't want to go too far, so we don't want to go into the low back area. If you've got long hair, make sure you pull it up, or if you're wearing a hood, just so you don't get strangled or pull your hair. That's a pro tip. We'll call that a CoaFit pro tip for all of you at home. And then you're going to go ahead and kind of find that place where you feel kind of the most tension. For most of us, it's right at the base of the shoulder blades. I'm going to posterior pelvic tilt, place my low back on the floor, and then reach my elbows back over my head, opening up my spine. When you breathe in here, try and breathe into the side of your rib cage. Think about expanding through the sides as you inhale. And as you exhale, get nice and heavy. Good. And then to come out of this, please don't just sit up, but roll off to the side and then bring yourself up so that we're not doing, we're not trying to reverse our spine after we just stretch it out. So we're going to come over and we're going to come into a plank here. So we're going to bring the roller, and I want it to be underneath your shoulders, but I want you to start on your mid forearm versus your elbows. So you'll see my shoulders might be a little forward of my elbows, and that's okay. Actually, we're going to start on our knees. Press the tops of your feet down into the floor. And then from there, you're going to roll to the elbows and then roll back to the wrists. Keep that belly engaged. Try not to let your hips drop here as you go out and then pull back up as you pull back in. But instead, roll out and just try as hard as you can. Squeeze that butt, squeeze those inner thighs, and keep the hips exactly where they are as you roll out and roll back in and roll out and roll back in, roll out and in. Let's go 2 more. Rolling out and back in. 1 more time. Rolling out and back in. Good. Go ahead and lay flat on your belly, roll that foam roller out. We're just going to use it for a little bit of extension. So again, placing it kind of on the center of our forearms. Our heads down, we're going to squeeze our legs together, engage our belly, and kind of draw our low back up towards the ceiling. From there, keeping that belly on, you're going to think about lifting the eyes first, drawing the shoulder blades second, and slowly starting to lift yourself up. But you just want to be able to be really light. So you can see I can lift my arms off this roller. I'm not pushing down on the roller to get up any higher. So I'm just lifting my eyes up, drawing the shoulder blades down, finding this extension. So I'm working through my mid and upper back. I'm not doing work with my low back because my belly is on and my butt is on, protecting myself from there. And then lowering down. I'm sorry, you will be doing work on your low back. You're just not doing only work on your low back. So eyes up, draw the shoulder blades in, find length through the head, then lift. Neck is long, shoulders are drawing back. Feel the back of the shoulders and in between the shoulder blades working, and then release everything. Again, drawing up, eyes up, draw back, really light on those rollers. We're not pushing down on them at all. We're squeezing our butts, and the tops of our feet are connected to the floor. And roll down and up. Lift those eyes, draw those shoulder blades, and roll down. Two more here. Draw the shoulder blades, lift those eyes and lift. And roll down. One more time, drawing down and lift. And come down to rest. Good. Then we're just going to bring this roller up. We're going to spin around, taking a seat on top. We're just going to put the soles of the feet together, and then we're going to rock back so that our butt's kind of hanging off the back side of the roller. And then from here, you're just going to fold forward, getting a stretch through the sides. So we want to stretch in our back and then through the sides of our hips, down the outer part of our ankles even. And we're just going to hold here. This is just like a nice routine, like I said, to kind of put at the beginning and the end of a walk or a hike that you're going to do or a bike ride, or kind of just in the morning, you can do it just to kind of wake your body up. Good, go ahead and walk yourself back up. And you guys are all set. Have a great day.